So before we get into the actual act of writing the poetry, let's talk a little bit about why it's important and why I write poetry myself. So I come from a fairly traumatic past. I had an interesting upbringing. I ended up moving out of home at 15 and have been sort of dealing with the mental and practical ramifications of that choice ever since. And there was good reasons that I moved out. But one of the things that I've been having to deal with and process is all of the thoughts and the issues that are keep bubbling up over time. The mental health concerns, the practical lack of understanding, the lack of a father figure in my life, all of these things. And it's very easy, I found, to just sort of go from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing without considering stuff. But the problem with that is that I found myself eventually breaking down. And I went on a bit of a journey of self-discovery, and that involved looking into myself, introspecting, seeing therapists, working out what I actually like, looking after myself, the whole variety of stuff. And one of the things that I found very beneficial was to start writing about things, writing about my past and how I'm feeling about things now, and then sort of looking at that approach. So the reason I like poetry particularly is that you can do it in one setting. So let's say I'm having a bad day and I'm not sure what I want to do with myself, and there's good choices and bad choices, and some bad choices might be like inebriation, or interacting with the wrong people, or harming, whatever we're talking here. Some positive choices could be your forms of self-care, like exercising or having a bath, right? An act of poetry can be done in those times when I'm not feeling that great. I'll sit down and just free flow my thoughts onto the paper. This acts as a form of self-expression, and it gets those thoughts out. When you talk to a friend or a therapist or a family member about your problems, a lot of the healing comes just by saying it. A lot of that expression, just getting it out there, feels good. And people that play sports and artists of all varieties will have that same sort of feeling. They're expressing themselves, they're getting it out. Dancers and musicians and people that play sports of any variety will get this same sort of feeling. But I think there's an extra benefit to writing with words, and writing poetry particularly. The benefit I like is that poetry enables you to play with the specific words. It puts words to those emotions, it puts words to those feelings, and you can really nut it down. Like, maybe this is just the way my brain works, and probably how yours works considering you're watching this video, but I can only move my body in certain ways. But there's words that can get very, 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 very specific as to the type of expression that I'm trying to get. I can say that I'm angry, or I'm frustrated, or I'm, happy, or I'm elated. Like, we can get very specific as to the exact emotionality of how I'm feeling. And I find that the more specific I get when I'm expressing myself, the more release, the better I feel, the more expression I get. It just feels better. And then what I find happens is, as I'm writing, I'm sort of processing what's happened. And then once it's on the page and I'm playing with the structure and tweaking it around and choosing the best words and all of that sort of stuff, it's no longer in my head, whatever I'm dealing with. It's now on the page, and it's sort of external to me. I'm looking at it and I'm tweaking with it, playing with it. And then when I've created this poem, however the poem sort of fits, and we'll go into the different types, it's sort of like, it's over here now. I'm detached, I'm looking back at it, and I feel great. And the reason I like poetry in particular is because you can smash out a small poem in 30 minutes, an hour, right? Whereas writing a narrative or a book or a diary entry, all this sort of stuff, it's really long form. Whereas a poetry, you can literally do like a couple of lines and you're done. And that, so we'll talk about the different depths and levels and all of this stuff. But it's quick, it's on the go, and it's fun. So without further ado, let's get into it.